All right, all right. We're live in the studio on Statesvegas Radio and for the DJ Julius Show. And I've got a very special guest in the studio today. It's kind of a fluke thing.
Absolutely.
Let me tell the story. I was working out at the Planet Fitness, and I go to pull in the parking lot, and I see this really cool van. It's a typical Volkswagen hippie van. It's got the curtains, and it's got a big American emblem on the side. It says the Dad Book on it. Got some Facebook pages. So immediately, being the nosy person I am, I looked it up on Facebook, and I was thrilled to see that you got a real special mission going on, and I'm super excited to have you here. I'm going to introduce you in a second.
Okay, hey, it's all good. It's all
I
good.
told you I talk a lot.
No, hey, no, it's all good.
But I'm super excited to have you here, and we're going to do a special lunchtime interview with you because generally my show is on Tuesday nights at 7.
Okay.
And so hopefully a lot of people at work are not working and watching us on Facebook.
Yeah, right.
If you can't,
if they're not, they should be.
They should be, right. And if you are listening or watching on Facebook, you don't get to tune in. If the boss comes around and you have to click off real fast, join us again on YouTube. This show will be shown on YouTube, and it'll be on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock.
Perfect.
Statesvegasradio.com. I need to say that because you're probably going to share this with people all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So our radio station is available through an app that you can download at the App Store or Google Play, or you can go to statesvegasradio.com and listen to it.
Right.
There's a little button on the homepage that you push, and it brings it up.
Brings it right up.
I have people email me from the website asking how to listen to
I know.
I'm like, just push that little button.
You try and make it as simple as possible.
Well, let's get this thing started, man. I got to introduce you. I don't know a lot about you.
Yeah.
So it's just like we're complete strangers meeting each other. And, and I want to thank you for coming in, because some guy, approaches you out of nowhere and says, "Hey, you want to be on a radio show?" And then I bring you to this, crazy
flea market,
the creepy old closed down flea market. Hey. And but I think once you got in the studio, you felt at home.
Oh yeah,
you're a college guy, right?
So
this is probably like a lot of college dorm rooms. Anyway, let me introduce you, Nat Timmons, right?
Yep, Nat Timmons.
Nat Timmons,
and I'm originally from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
I was going to ask that.
Yep.
Is that where you headed out from on your mission? Right?
Yep. That's where I started. So for those of you watching, Kalamazoo is about right here on the mid. I know all of us Michigan folks. We have a thing.
Kalamazoo. Is it how is it off the lake?
It's about 45 minutes off of the lake.
Off the lake.
And then it's literally like right in the middle of Detroit and Chicago.
Okay. Yeah.
So we get a lot of like travel throughs
Yep. I might have went through going past Chicago sometime.
Yeah.
Do you get the winds off the lake in Kalamazoo?
Oh, it's snowing there right now.
Really? Yeah, I heard they had a winter blast.
I know all my friends are texting me. They're like, "Where are you at right now?" And I was like, "North Carolina. It's 70 degrees and sunny."
Well, it's crazy cool today.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's like fall. You never know what you're going to get in North Carolina. It's one day it's cold and hot. I think tomorrow it's supposed to be like 85.
We always joke in Michigan we get all 4 seasons in 1 week. It'll be snowing on Monday, 75 on Tuesday, sleet/snow on Wednesday, and then Thursday the leaves are changing colors.
Well, you probably don't get the extreme heat. I think humidity's not that bad out there, right?
Humidity's real bad up there.
Is it?
Because of the lake, yeah.
Oh well, yeah. I guess near the lake, probably. So anyway, what drew me to you, like I said, was the van.
Yep.
And you had the Dad Book on it, your Facebook page, and the American flag map. So when I looked up on Facebook, I saw that your mission is you're traveling to 50 different states.
Traveling to all 50 states.
And you're interviewing dads.
Interviewing a dad in every state.
One dad.
So interviewing one dad or dad-like figure.
Oh, okay.
So kind of give you guys a backstory. We can just dive into it, I guess.
Yeah, man. Let's hear about it.
So the Dad Book, basically the idea is to travel to all 50 states, interview a dad in every state, and then put together all of these interviews into one big book titled The Dad Book, 50 Dads, 50 States. Right. And the idea is that for me growing up, my dad was always the most influential person in my life. Right. And, hearing other stories of fathers doing incredible things, I'm one of those people that I feel like dads don't get enough credit.
Well, I have to admit, when I saw you, I was like, was trying to. I wanted to pick you out in the gym because I wanted to approach you. So I was looking at your picture on your Facebook page, and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's young.
Yeah.
What does he know about being a dad? You know, and I am a dad, and I will tell you. Well, first I'll say, you know, that generally the DJ Julius Show is about music.
Okay.
And I have different musicians come in from all over. But one thing that means more to me in my life, besides music, is being a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my girls more than anything in the world. And I get emotional I start talking about them girls too. But yeah, being a dad changed my life, you know, and that's why I was super excited about your mission. I thought, man, that is so cool, you know, what he's doing. And, because you know, sometimes I think dads get overlooked, you know, and for a long time I was a single dad, and you know, it was funny because when I did things with my daughter, people look at me in a weird kind of way, and they would say, you know, oh, where's mom? Yeah, you know, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm here, I'm doing I'm doing my job, you know, and so. And it really meant a lot to me, and so I'm really excited to hear about some of the dads you've met over the. How far into the mission are you?
Yeah, so I started in Michigan, and then I'd actually planned my route back in October. That was kind of when I was originally going to leave, and October
18
of 18. Yeah, October came and passed, so I actually started April. It was 13th is when I left Kalamazoo. So I went to Indiana first, where I was going to interview an Amish dad, and that ended up falling through. So, so that's the thing. I'm trying to incorporate kind of what the state's known for, or kind of like the stereotypes of the state.
So are you're lining up the interviews before you actually get to the state? So you're not just walking in saying, "Hey, you dad."
Yeah. For most of the states that I've got on my route, I've got 25 dads lined up already across 25 states.
Right.
So for the most part, basically my route south and then all the way to California is pretty much mapped out.
Yeah.
So then my plan is, while I'm doing these southern states, to then start reaching out to the dads on the way back. Because basically my route is Michigan, Indiana was the Amish dad. Right. Then I went to Kentucky, where I interviewed a Fox Sports radio host. And he talked about his time as a father and how him and his wife adopted 2 kids from Bulgaria.
Wow.
And super interesting story. Like he was about 42-ish, and then finally him and his wife were like, hey, like, we've been trying to have kids for the last year. It's just not working out. Right. Let's try adoption. And it was the funniest thing. She
got pregnant after that.
No.
You hear about that a lot.
No, yeah.
Where they get people adopt, the next thing you know, the wife gets pregnant. You know?
Yep. But it was funny because I was like, well, why Bulgaria? Like, you always hear of like Asian countries or African countries being primarily where people adopt from. Mm-hmm. And he said, no, to be honest, Bulgaria was only adoption agencies require you to stay like a certain amount of time in the country before you can adopt. And he's like, China was going to be 3 weeks, Romania was going to be 2.5, and Bulgaria was 1 week. So I told my wife, I was like, dude, 1 week trip, we get a kid out of it, like, let's do it.
Well, I don't know much about Bulgaria, but it's probably a little more pleasant than China, I would think. You know, to be there, you know, I don't know. China just seems scary.
Yeah. Yeah. He said it was absolutely beautiful, and ended up he adopted the son, and then figured out that son had a brother. And he said, well, we can't separate them. Like, that would just be wrong.
So he went for 1 and came back with 2.
Exactly. Wow. Exactly. So that was super interesting story. Just really, really interesting how it all kind of played out for him. So that was the Kentucky dad. And then in Tennessee, I was in Nashville for probably the last week and a half. Just missed the draft. Honestly, thank goodness. Like, I don't know if you saw the videos.
Nashville, yeah, crazy.
It's crazy there. Yeah, so
packed in the streets and everything else. Now let's backtrack a little bit. You went to. You're writing a book. Are you an English major?
So my background is actually in finance. I graduated Western Michigan University.
I was going to ask what college.
Yeah, right there in Kalamazoo. I graduated with a degree in finance. So my joke is that the dad book is either going to be super dry and analytical and like very statistic based, or it'll allow me my chance to like be my creative self. And
I cut you off earlier when you were telling me, you know, your dad has a special relationship. But I mean, where did the book idea come from? The traveling.
Yeah. So there's the funny aspect and then the serious aspect of it. The funny aspect, I'll start there. I was about sophomore year of college. My roommates and I were all sitting in our apartment. And as any roommates in college do, we were going through all the conspiracies, right? You know, JFK, all of them, right? The big ones. Right. And then I was like, something that week had like broken in our apartment, and I asked my dad, or I called him, and I was like, "Hey, like, can you come fix this?" And he was like, "Sure, like, I'll figure it out." I was like, "How do you know how to fix anything?" I think it was like our washer or something. He's like, "Oh, I'll do it." So I was asking my roommates, I was like, "Yo, there's got to be some book out there that like when the dad has their first newborn, the nurse pulls him aside, takes him into a room, and is like, hey, this is the dad book. This is everything you need to know about fatherhood." So then, of course, I was like, this is ridiculous. So I actually asked my nurse friends, I was like, there's not a book, right? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay. But
not yet.
yeah, not yet. So then about senior year, one of our classes was actually, the entire lecture was about influential people in our lives. And going around the room, probably 95% of the room was saying, you know, my mom, my dad, and the other 5% was a close family friend. So it was all very family structured. And I know when I was kind of looking back on the lecture and the class in specific, I said, oh, like my dad is definitely my role model. Like look up to him our entire lives growing up. You know, he owned his own construction company. So growing up, I was, you know, sweeping the floors, picking up nails, like 5 years old.
Free
Just,
labor.
yeah. Shout out dad though, by the way, he probably the best paying job I've ever had.
Really?
Working for him. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad taught me a good work ethic, I like to think. And
Yep.
I always tell the story that I went away to the military.
Mm.
I was in the Air Force. I came home after, it had been about a year away, and, you know, visiting, staying with him for a few days. And I was washing his car. And all of a sudden, into my brain just popped in, what am I doing? You know, I'm here on vacation.
Right.
I'm going to leave from the military.
Right.
And he's done sent me out to wash his car. You know? And I'm thinking, but I was out there washing it, no questions. But like halfway through it, I'm like, I'm washing my dad's car on my vacation. You know? So yeah, he was quick to put me to work. But I really appreciate that now. And I think some of our younger folks need to,
Well,
you know,
and
no
I think
offense to you.
no.
I'm sure you hear that a lot.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too, is I think the older I get, the more I appreciate all the things my parents have done for me.
Right.
And that's what really sparked the interest in the dad book. I was like, you know, my parents sacrificed so much just to allow me to graduate through college, just to allow me to be where I am today. And, you know, knowing that my dad is unique to me, but also there are so many other stories of fathers sacrificing, you know, just doing the most for their children, right? So I really wanted to highlight that. So that's what really culminated the dad book, if you will.
Well, as a veteran, I mean, to me, those guys make the ultimate sacrifice.
Absolutely.
You know, they're in foreign countries, away from their kids, and I can't imagine
Absolutely.
how it could feel to be away from your baby for that long.
Yeah, my brother-in-law served in the military,
Right.
and yeah, their first newborn, he was in Afghanistan when she was born, and like that whole dynamic of like my sister living with us at the time, and like it's truly remarkable. Like I have the ultimate respect for our
Shout out
veterans.
for all the
Yeah,
veterans out there
absolutely.
fighting and their kids too for
Yeah.
making the sacrifice. But that's so. Gosh, tell me some more. I mean,
Yeah.
You're how many states are you through now?
So I'm through 4 of the states now.
Oh, so you're just getting started.
Just getting started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you went to school in Kalamazoo.
Yep.
And you lived in Kalamazoo.
Born and raised in Kalamazoo.
So I know for me, you know, I went in the military straight out of high school, and I think for a lot of people, you said now you seem to have a more of an appreciation for your father. Does being away from, I know in the military, as soon as we were gone and away, you know, 5 states away, you really get hit with the appreciation from your parents. Me and my mother always had this kind of, you know, a little battle going.
Yeah.
But man, you know, I think I missed her the most when I was gone. And so I know if you're experiencing that, 'cause you were never really that far away from home, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So through college, I actually traveled abroad in India for,
so
it was,
you have been.
yeah, I think I was there for 2.5 weeks, but even then it was like, you know, in a completely different country, completely foreign to me. That was the farthest I've ever been away from Kalamazoo, like literally the other side of the world. But then even on this trip in specific, or writing the dad book, I was sitting there in Florence, Kentucky in a Planet Fitness parking lot, and I was like, what am I doing right now? Where, like, this isn't my home. I'm in a van.
In a van.
So I FaceTime my parents, and that's the one thing I will say. I don't know how long ago you were in the military.
Yeah, we didn't have that option back in them days.
Yeah, and I think that's the awesome thing too, is like with technology, and I told everybody that too when I was leaving. I was like, sure, there are going to be nights where I'm lonely. Sure, there are going to be nights where I'm sitting there in a parking lot, like, what am I doing? But because of social media, because of the fact that within a matter of moments, I can be seeing my parents and talking to them face to face. So we try and do that every couple of days, just to touch base. They want to make sure I'm okay and not.
I'm sure they're probably freaked out.
Yeah,
that's probably one thing I can say about the military is your parents have a sense of that your well-being, because they know the government's gonna take pretty good care of you anyway, or at least through basic training and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, you're riding around the country, right? In some strange lands. And thank goodness for GPS. I guess you can kind of stay away from the bad parts of town.
There was a couple parts in Indiana where my service was cutting out and it was getting pretty dark, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. Like,
now, you haven't had any trouble out of the old VW, have you?
Not yet. Knock on wood. It's been driving great. I spent, that's again when I was planning to leave in October. The van needed quite a bit of work when I first got it. It didn't have any brakes. The brake lines were all busted. So shout out to the mechanic in Kalamazoo that helped me out. It got me straight, and
you got AAA, I guess.
so I actually don't.
Hey, whatever.
But
you'd be surprised. I used to travel with my dad around the country a little bit when his work, and it's amazing. There are people out there that will rip you off, but it's amazing how people will. There's good people everywhere. And as soon as they hear your story, I'm sure they probably jump to rescue.
And that is one of the reasons I chose the van specifically, with it being that old school Volkswagen kind of hippie van. Is people really do roll out the red carpet, and it's not like a white cargo van where it's just like me chilling there, like, hey.
I'll put a picture of the van on our Facebook page so some of our viewers can check that out, because it is a cool van. And I'm totally jealous, man. I was talking to my wife about it the other day, and I talked about how after I got out of the military that I contemplated going overseas and doing a staying till I ran out of money kind of thing. A round trip ticket and just go over there and hitchhike around till I made it home. But I think it's cool that you've put a mission with yours.
Right.
Have you had any interest in publishing or anything like that?
So in talking with other authors, they really said, especially with me not having a book already published or any real like previous work to show, they said you really need some kind of manuscript beforehand before you go to a publisher and say, hey, like, this is what I'm doing. Like, the idea is awesome, but you have to have some kind of writing to show for it. So as I'm going through all these states and as I'm doing all these interviews, I've been writing kind of chapter by chapter. And then my plan is, by the time I've got about 10 interviews done, that'll be 10 chapters, so about 20% of the way done. So that way I can go to the publisher and say, hey, like, this is what the book's going to ultimately look like. This is the rest of the idea. Here's how I plan to do it. Will you guys, consider publishing this, or will you work with me through this to get it published? So
I think it's a crazy original idea. I love it, man. It's so cool. The traveling part, like I said, I'm so envious.
Well,
but I think dads, all over will be anxious to that.
Yeah, and it's been really cool just hearing the stories so far of the dads that I've lined up. So to kind of backtrack to on Father's Day of 2018, I had basically done my pitch, if you will, for the dad book, shared it on Facebook, all the social media platforms. It got up to like 4,000 views or something, so it was shared around quite a bit. And I had people reaching out to me in Washington and saying, hey, I just saw your video on Facebook, really love what you're doing, like, let me know how I can help, right? So then after that, I actually reached out to all the local news stations in Kalamazoo. I think I messaged about 40 people that worked for the news stations. I ended up messaging an intern for one of them. I was just on LinkedIn, like, searching WWMT, like, whatever. And then ended up having one in Grand Rapids, which is about 45 minutes north of Kalamazoo. For Fox 17, they were willing to do a piece on it. And shout out Erica, like, you helped me so much at the very beginning when I had like nothing. And she did a whole piece on it. really helped get some momentum behind it. And then from that, I was able to start lining up interviews with guys in Colorado, California.
So, but you do still have some states where you're
Right.
blind. All right. Well,
Right.
I'll put a shout out to our Facebook viewers and anybody listening on Statesvegas Radio. If you have a dad that you know anywhere in the country with an interesting story, something probably far, the crazier the better. I'm sure.
Right. No.
And make sure you hit Nate up on Facebook.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about Facebook, it's the real.
At The Real Dad Book.
The real. So if you search on Facebook the Real Dad Book, it pops right up.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yep.
The Real Dad Book. Go to his Facebook page and like it, and read all about what he's doing. And are you doing any kind of video log of your trip?
Yeah, so I've actually got it's a pretty cool app actually. It's just like a 1 second every day, and that's how I've kind of been documenting my trip so far. Just like a quick 1 second clip of this is what I'm doing.
Right.
So then at the end of it, I'll have like a mass collection of.
Right.
So the trip right now is kind of expecting to be on the road for 250 days. So I'll have
50. Wow.
what would that come out to? 25 divided by 6, like 4 minutes worth of just quick clips of me doing whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to. I guess in this day and time, so many people are doing that kind of
the daily vlogs and
the video stuff.
Yeah.
I think a book is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
People need to read more.
Yeah,
including myself. Now, I think it's pretty ingenious that you did the whole Planet Fitness thing, right?
So so I've just got like the black card membership at Planet Fitness, $20 some a month, and I can go to any Planet Fitness in the country. There's over 1,100.
Right.
So I'm pretty much I'm never farther than about an hour away from a Planet Fitness where I can.
And I've said that to people before, and I understand we have homeless issues and in the country, and I thought, man, for $10 a month, I mean,
You got a place to shower.
Yes, go get you a membership if you're struggling, because it's great.
Planet Fitness not a sponsor, but
we're gonna shout out to Planet Fitness, but maybe they'll give us a free coffee.
Yeah, right.
Hey, free pizza on Tuesday.
Hey, I'm there.
Now, what about food? Have you? I mean, are you? You're eating out 3 meals a day? Do you cook? I guess you don't cook in your van, but are you?
So
going to the grocery store?
So before I left, I actually have a friend that's a registered dietitian. So I kind of talked to her about, when I'm on the road, I want to make sure I'm not just eating canned soup daily. So she kind of got me set up with a pretty good idea of like, if you eat these foods, lentils are really big, high in protein, high in fiber. Right. But so far, I haven't really stuck to that plan so far. I've basically been living off of PB&J's without the J. The Walgreens I was at to get my first pair of groceries didn't have jelly, so I was just rocking the PB without the J. But no, like sandwiches. Quick stopping into a grocery store like last night. I just picked up like a pre-made salad for $3. So my plan really is to try and stay below $10 a day for my food budget. So bananas, apples.
Now, have you got any plans to like treat yourself like once a month, maybe
So,
take it to a hotel just to kind of get that,
relive like living in a home or something?
Right.
Yeah,
I know the bed in the Volkswagen's got to get a little,
Yeah. So I don't know if I have a plan necessarily to like go in a hotel, because the van is pretty comfy, but I don't really have plans to go in a hotel per se. So I will say though, in every state I've been, or in every small little city, I do try and like go to the local diner or the local deli and just grab something.
Well, that's one of the best things about traveling is doing that. And unfortunately, for some reason, my crazy dad always wanted to hit the chain places,
the McDonald's,
Friendlies, or the Golden Corral.
Yep.
And I'm like, Dad, let's go to this little diner over here.
Yep.
Because that's where you always get the best meals.
You always,
generally it's cheap too.
It's cheap, and the people there are usually family run businesses, so they're a lot more apt to talk to you and say, hey, like what brings you into town.
Right.
I was at the local deli yesterday, and I was chatting with the waitress.
Which one?
Groucho's.
Groucho's. Yeah, shout out to Groucho's.
Shout out to Groucho's. Real nice.
What do you think of downtown Statesville?
It's really nice.
We've come a long way. We're real proud of what's going on down there. We actually have 2 breweries downtown now. And,
yep.
Yeah, maybe you can pass back through. Where's your next stop?
So I'll be going to South Carolina next, just outside of Myrtle Beach.
Did you come through Asheville by chance?
I came through Asheville. Yep.
What did you think about that? Did you get any time there?
I didn't. Unfortunately, I passed through Asheville at about 11:30 at night, so it was like pitch black, and yeah. I was on a mission to get to the Planet Fitness. So
right.
Yeah.
Asheville's probably one of North treasures.
Okay.
Think it's a very eclectic town. It's pretty out there. But Statesville, like I said, we're glad to have you in States. I'm sure glad because I was, I'm like, hey, I scored me a cool interview.
Yeah.
This guy in the parking lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're real proud of Statesville. We're glad you're impressed with it.
Yeah,
it's cool. Impressed enough to stay with us,
So I'll say too, and we can talk about it a little bit. The dad that I actually interviewed in North Carolina is from Statesville.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
really?
So I would have otherwise never knew about Statesville.
Can you tell us who it is?
Yeah, so his name's John. And John, I want to keep his last name off, but
that's fine.
But anyway, so John, I actually met John through eBay reselling.
Oh, okay.
On Twitter and on social media. We kind of connected through that, and then he posted a really inspiring story about how he had battled with depression, and how he basically relearned how to love his life. Not only he rebuilt himself first, but then has furthered his love for life through his family now. Right. So after he battled with his bout with depression, he ended up finding a new wife, ended up starting a family, and just a truly incredible story about like overcoming the ultimate adversity of like being on the edge and being like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. Right. And he was able to overcome that and start a family, and truly touching story. So yeah, he was in the Statesville area, and
folks, another reason to buy your book.
Yeah,
it's got a little hometown story in there. That's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So just one person out of every state. Now on your, I think it was your website or something, you said that you were going after like different kinds of groups for like so many dads were going to be inspirational, so many dads were going to be funny.
Yeah. So the dad book, I really want to break the dad book into 3 separate chunks. Oh, okay. So the first are going to be 20 how-tos that I feel like every dad should know how to do. So there is no book on how to be a father. Let me clarify that. There will never be. Like fatherhood, I've learned in the couple interviews I've already done that there's no set stone of what you're supposed to do.
I will tell you. Yes.
So I am trying to incorporate like some kind of like quirky stuff, if you will. So like the 20 interviews of the how-tos, like how to change a spare tire with a mechanic, how to like grill the perfect steak. So I'm actually interviewing a pit master in Alabama.
Oh, cool.
So the first portion will be like the 20 kind of, I call them serious how-tos. Mm-hmm. The next 10 interviews are going to be like the quirky how-tos. So how to set up the perfect tea party, how to do the perfect French braid,
oh, God.
how to surf, because who doesn't want to be that dad?
Yeah. Right.
So
we got beaches in North Carolina.
Yeah. Right.
So we got some decent waves. I lived in California for a while too. Where what's last on your list? I guess, or are you?
State-wise, or
yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've already got your whole map drawn out.
Yep.
And what's the total mileage?
So
gosh, I can't imagine.
Not including Alaska, no map does justice to how big or far away.
I forgot about Hawaii and Alaska.
Yeah. So the trip from Washington to Alaska and back alone is about 3,000 miles, which is nuts.
That's crazy.
So I am considering like if it would just make sense to fly,
yeah. I mean,
but
I don't think it would take it away from
total trip. It's looking at about 10 to 12,000 miles. Wow. So although it seems like daunting to travel the country, when you
250 days,
250 days, so call it 2/3 of a year,
right.
And when you do the math, it comes out to 10 to 12,000, which sounds daunting, and it is. But that's usually how much somebody drives in a normal year, just going to and from work. So
I put probably 10.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting to do the math on it all. But
now, I said before, do you actually have like, okay, this day I'm going to drive? Are you that calculated? You're a numbers guy. Do you have like, I'm going here to here this day? Here this day?
So I've allocated about 5 days to each state.
Oh, okay.
So that puts me at that 250.
So not a minute by minute type thing.
No. Yeah.
So if you run into somebody at Groucho's during lunch and you get, or
I was gonna say if I run into Julius in a parking lot, he's like, "Hey,
man, you want to be on the radio,
Yeah.
on the radio station?"
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
And now, so Alaska, Hawaii is going to be the end of the trip, you think?
So I'm going to be heading south from North Carolina to Florida, and then from Florida to Alabama, and then in Alabama I'm actually going to stay with my sister. She lives down there.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So I'm going to stay with her for a week, because the van, the 30-year-old van, does not have air conditioning.
Oh no! Really?
So I'm gonna have Alabama be my test run, if you will, on how bad it is living in the van in the South.
I've got a tip for you. See that little thing right over there on that counter?
Okay.
And that is an air conditioner.
Okay.
It's one of these as seen on TV things.
Yeah.
Our listeners don't know if they give a crap about this, but I got to tell this guy about it. It's about $30.
Okay.
And it plugs into a USB port.
Perfect.
And you pour water in it.
Oh, right on.
It blasts some cold air, and it'll actually make a little bit of a dent in here. But at night, pour you a glass of water in there. Maybe if there's some way you could. The only problem I would see with it is the reservoir runs out fairly quick.
Set like a timer or something quick.
Yeah, I mean, but I definitely think
you
should try it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Any mall as seen on TV store. Get one because it will work.
Okay.
Plug it right into a cigarette lighter and then plug into USB cord.
Yeah.
And it even lights up. It's got like a cool little night.
Oh, right on.
It changes colors.
Get a little mood setting in the van.
Hey, every now and then, as seen it on TV stuff is halfway decent. But
yeah,
an old friend of mine actually told me about it.
Okay,
it works good. So try that.
Right on.
Cheapest option you'll find for an air conditioner.
No, yeah, and that's the issue is I'm in a couple like Facebook groups of like people living in vans, and people have the air conditioning unit like cut out in the middle of their van.
Oh yeah, they do
like
the rooftop and stuff. But yeah, that's probably no drain on the battery.
Okay,
but it just got a little.
Perfect.
It would probably, what is the square footage on that van?
I think it's like 60 cubic feet. It's not much.
I would think it would, you don't, bake in there.
Yeah. So Alabama's going to be my test run, and with that, it may actually make it really nice. So then from Alabama, I'm either going to keep heading west towards California, kind of zigzagging my way through the southern states, or what I'll do is head north to like North Dakota, zigzag that way. Head west and then hit the southern states kind of late summer, early fall. And then my ultimate end would be Maine. So the Northeast is going to be my last portion.
I've done a couple of months in the military. It's pretty up there.
It is.
Make sure it's not anything past September.
Yeah.
You don't want to be up there in the wintertime.
Well, and I
don't know how good the van would do because they get like feet of snow.
Right.
Inches,
right.
Depending on how far up you get.
Right.
Now, have you ever thought about the whole Europe thing? You're a young guy. If you say, the book takes off and super successful, would there be an international
dad book? I have thought about it. I have.
Do you speak any foreign languages?
No. Hola and gracias about it.
Well, I think you could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
They got translators on the phone these days. But no, you're one step at a time.
I was going to say, my whole thing when I left was I'm going to take this whole experience day by day. Mm-hmm. And that's honestly like why I was cool doing this interview, because I was like, hey, I was otherwise going to go work out and quick kind of jot down my itinerary for the next couple of days. Right. And I was like, you know what? I'm living this day by day. I'm on no strict schedule. And I was like, sure, let's do a talk show. So,
well, one of the coolest things about traveling in my life, the traveling I've done, or up in the flea market, I traveled for all over the place. Just meeting new people and making new friends. It's Facebook. You got friends on there that you follow their lives on that you don't really know about. But there's nothing about like that human connection and those conversations that you can get into with people, and we need to do more of that in this country.
Absolutely.
Instead of we need to talk to each other and like me and you are, and not do Facebook and all these political posts and all this back and forth battling. I think that's a black eye on our country right now. We need to be more open and reach out to our neighbors. And, if you see a cool van in the parking lot,
go off and talk to them.
Talk to a guy because I'm sure we'll keep in touch.
Yeah,
I'll definitely be interested in.
Well, And I'll even add to that as well. I know a lot of people, when I said I was going to do the dad book, they said, "Well, aren't you just doing a nationwide trip and like?"
They think you're just a college kid out having a good time.
Yeah. But for me, in talking with people, like I hate phone interviews, right? Like I hate sitting there on a speaker, and you don't get the emotional impact. You don't.
You can't see in people's face their emotions and stuff.
Exactly.
You can see what really touches them. Yeah, we do a couple of phone interviews.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
It's nothing like a face to face and actually talking. Like I said, text. These kids these days.
Yeah.
I can't say no. Me and my wife text all day long. But there's nothing like that human connection of talking to each other. Hopefully, one of these days, years, we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
And, let's talk more about the dad part of
it
real fast. Got a little bit of time. You've done 4 or 5?
Four states.
4 states.
Unfortunately, Indiana didn't work out with the Amish dad, but I do have another connection.
Well, Pennsylvania, there's some Amish folks.
Yep.
Big Amish community.
Yep.
You said Amish. Do you have any other are you doing different nationalities? Maybe it's Hispanics.
Yeah.
Or
So,
Asians or...
so one of the dads that I'm excited to interview all the dads, but there are a couple that have such moving stories that I'm really excited to share. There's actually a dad in Nebraska who comes from a Hispanic family and was in the prison system for a minor possession of illicit drugs, and ended up missing he either missed his daughter's quinceañera or something with the quinceañera he ended up missing because he was in the prison system.
Right.
And
for our uneducated, I wouldn't say uneducated. Quinceañera is Sweet 15 for Hispanic.
Huge in the Hispanic community.
It's like coming of age. Almost like a wedding almost.
Yeah, absolutely huge in the Hispanic community. So the corrections facility that he was in at the time ended up starting this program. It's a father's-daughter dance. So once every year, these daughters are able to come in and spend time with their dad while they've been away, and like it's a night where they basically are free to spend time with their daughter, right, and dance. And
well, I don't want to cut you off, but I have to brag about the father-daughter thing. I've been fortunate enough for probably the last almost 20 years. I think one year in the last 20, I had not DJ'd the Girl Scouts do a Cinderella ball every year.
Okay.
And it's the most amazing thing that you'll ever see. I did it probably for 4 or 5 years before I had a daughter. And it made me want to have a daughter. Yeah. My wife was pregnant. I was like, I want a daughter just so I could take her to that. And it's an amazing event. And I recommend it to anybody anywhere in the country. Around here, the Girl Scout thing was the main one for a long time, but now a lot of people are doing them. So there a lot of schools will do them.
It's cool to see.
I recommend it to any dad because it's still just special to my heart. I actually took my stepdaughter this year. My oldest daughter, she's kind of aged out of it now.
Yeah,
unfortunately, they're in the teenage years. But the memories we shared through that is crazy, and I've got some new memories with my stepdaughter. And, I just highly recommend it. Sorry to cut you off.
No, absolutely.
Back to what we were saying.
Absolutely. So, there's a Hispanic dad in Nebraska that I'll be interviewing about that and just like that whole experience, what that was like. I think he actually worked with the corrections facility. I may be mistaken on that part, but I'm pretty sure he worked with the corrections facility to implement that program. Right. And now it's one of their they're known for it, right? And it was cool because when you start doing something or when you have this idea and you're working towards it, you're more apt to see things about that. Right. So I was just scrolling through Twitter one day and saw this video that had been shared some 60,000 times about the father-daughter dance. Right. And I just reached out to the facility and said, "Hey, like I'm doing this book. How can I interview somebody about this?"
Well, I'm kind of surprised by that, and I know you got some naysayers out there that would probably say, "Oh, that's that's not punishment. That's not a But honestly, if a child cannot change your evil ways or your wrongdoings, then nothing probably can. So I think it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah,
at least let them have that human contact, and and like I said, it's got to change some lives, I would
Yeah.
think, to do
Yeah.
that. So
Well, and even for the people in the corrections facility, that moment or that day of the year that they can look forward to, the guy that I'm gonna interview said it absolutely changed his life. Said he started working every day towards getting better and making sure that he was ready to go. So
now I know you had, I think I saw this on your Facebook page that you were going to do some alternative lifestyle type, any LGBT
oh yeah,
community
yeah,
type
okay,
stuff, or transgender fathers,
yep,
or
yep.
do you
So
have any?
so I do have an interview with a transgender father.
Oh wow.
And he was very open about it. He said, "Ask me any question." He
Right.
said, "I won't be offended." And that's the thing. I want the dad book to highlight the fact that fatherhood isn't black and white. It's
Right.
not. It's
In this day and
fluid.
time, it's all over the place.
It's fluid, right? And there's so many different aspects to it. And when I talk about dad-like figures, I'll be interviewing a single mom on raising a family
Oh,
and
awesome.
what that's like without a father, in the
Right.
home. So yeah, I've tried to incorporate really any aspect of fatherhood there is. I want to have it touched on in the dad book.
Right, and a true representation of America and the American family right now. I think it's a good idea. Because,
Exactly.
It's, it might not be popular in certain areas, but
Right.
but it is what we're living in these days.
Yep.
Um, to me, any family's a good.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 stepdaughters. We have a joined family.
Yeah.
And that's the norm these days.
Mm-hmm.
Even grandparents. You have a lot of dads that are dads for the second time.
Right.
Maybe a suggestion. I don't know if you got that line.
No,
up,
yeah,
but,
no. I'm
a lot of kids. I know my daughter's school. A lot of her friends are their parents are their grandparents.
right.
Unfortunately, sad that has to be that way. But at least they do have that generation stepping up to take care of their kids' mistakes.
Yeah.
So definitely give a shout out for all those dads that are doing it for the second time. And
absolutely
appreciate them because they're molding a lot of our kids. And unfortunately, they are. There's a lot of kids in the school system being raised by grandparents. Yeah, man, I'm super excited to read the book. So you're just getting started. You're
just getting started.
You got a lot more states.
Got a lot.
And you're definitely going to have to give us a call at Statesvegas Radio and check in with me. I'll definitely be following you on Facebook.
Right on.
I encourage all you guys listening out there to like his page.
Yeah,
and check it for updates. And show him some love from Statesvegas. We got a Statesvegas. We have a Statesville Dad representative, which that's it. That means even more now. I'm super excited about that. And maybe after the book comes out, we can get you guys in. Maybe we can get Mr. John in with you.
Right on.
Talk a little bit about it when you go on your press tour.
Yeah.
I know Statesvegas Radio will be first on the list for the press tour.
Absolutely.
Forget the Today Show or CNN. When Statesvegas comes first. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about it, man. And I'm excited to see a young man your age doing something, man. That's cool. I think it's and something you'll never forget. I mean,
exactly.
The travels and the people you meet, and book about dads, because as a dad, it's nice to get recognition and partly a training manual. I like to, I could use any advice I could give. So definitely, maybe I'll learn something from your book. So you're thinking maybe this time next year?
Yeah. So really, the plan is to be done with the traveling around December, January, and then with me writing the book kind of chapter by chapter as I'm going through all these states. Right. The goal is to have really most of it ready to go for polishing, editing, all the stuff the publisher will do, with the ultimate goal of having it ready to be sold, ready to be read Father's Day 2020. So
cool.
Yeah.
That'd be an awesome release date.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of people releasing stuff in 2020.
Yeah.
I'm as a DJ, I'm really looking for a big year for weddings. The 2020 thing.
Oh yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of folks want to get married then. But Nate, man, I appreciate you so much, dude. I mean, for some guy hitting you up in the Planet Fitness parking lot.
No,
I appreciate you coming in and doing this interview, and hopefully we get a lot of views. All my Statesvegas Radio listeners, please share this video. Get this guy lots of listeners, and and lots of likes on his Facebook page. Get him some attention. That's what we need to show him some love for for coming into Statesville and letting Statesville be a part of his book.
Yeah, and Julius, thank you for having me, man.
Super cool.
It was definitely cool when I was scrolling through Facebook. I was like, oh, like I'll be on the radio. Yeah, that's awesome.
Man, like I said, we're small time, but we try.
Yeah. And thank you to everybody in Statesvegas or Statesville for the hospitality.
Groucho's.
Groucho's.
Did you visit any place else while you were here?
Me and John went to the Broad Burger. Is that what it's called?
Broad Street Burger.
Broad Street Burger.
I was there.
The Sexy Goat, by the way, absolutely phenomenal.
Burger. Yes. They actually have a Little Toe Frankie burger. Little Toe and Frankie do a show on Statesvegas
right on.
as well. So yeah, they're good people. Jason and Andrea that own it.
Okay.
We'll give a shout out to them guys. Maybe they'll give me some sponsorship one of these days. Jason.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, man, well, safe travels to you, man. You're going to South Carolina next. What town?
Just outside of Myrtle Beach area. So
Myrtle Beach?
Yep.
Cool. That's not a bad spot to be.
Right.
If you're down in Myrtle Beach area or you see the dad wagon on the road,
Vanna White is the
Vanna White. Yeah,
Vanna White's the name of the van.
Yeah,
so
Vanna White, give him a honk and then say hello and tell him you saw him on Statesvegas radio or heard him on stage.
Yeah.
Saw him on Facebook, whatever. Who cares? We're not professional. But once again, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. We'll re-air the show quite a few times. And if you have any questions for this guy, or like I said, any special dads throughout the country that you think he needs to maybe talk to, hit him up on that Facebook page, The Real Dad.
At The Real Dad Book.
At The Real Dad Book on Facebook. And you have the website too, right?
So I've got a website too. It's therealdadbook.com.
Realdadbook.com.
And then if you're on Instagram as well, I've got at The Real Dad Book there.
I always forget Instagram.
I know.
That. The Snapchat's the thing now. I still can't figure that out. It's just too hard.
Too much going on.
One or two, and it's Facebook, Instagram, I'm good. Snapchat, maybe next year.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, safe travels. Appreciate it again. Thank you guys for checking us out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening on Statesvegas Radio. If you haven't downloaded the Statesvegas Radio app, please do so. It's totally free, totally safe. We play tons of different kinds of music, a little bit of something for everybody. We have some local artists on there, and we've got some great shows, including the DJ Julius Show. Which I don't know if it's great or not, but hey,
it's got to be. It's got to be.
Hey, I'm never been one to put my name on anything, but it's like, hey, somebody's got it. We needed more shows, so I'm like, hey, well, I might as well do it.
Right.
Because have to pay me.
Right.
But anyway, thanks again, guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.